Hi there. So, another Raku firing, this time in daylight. If I waited a little longer, that shadow would get in here and get it really bright. That might be a little too much, but that's okay. This time I'm doing a 2-tier. I've got a couple of kiln shelves in there, so I've got 4 pieces in there. They're all large enough that I couldn't get any more in there, but that's okay. I ran out of pieces that I needed to fire anyhow. So my pieces are on the bottom this time, where I can't even see them. So that's a little worrisome. But the student of mine is on the second shelf. Yeah. Oh, excellent. Thank you. So anyway, my student Kayla, she's got her stuff on the second tier, the top one. Beautiful pieces. I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see how these work. Video for my students and stuff. Hope you don't mind being on camera. It's okay. So yeah, say hi to the postal worker. Super nice folks. Thank you. So yeah, it's been in there for about an hour. It's about noon now. They're running early today, in fact. How about that? And it's starting to lose the flat lack of luster, if you will, on the surface of the glaze on the top pieces here. So it's getting close. Got to make sure it all gets nice and even. But yeah. So since I may have to edit out that first part because I'm not quite sure of the legalities of having a postal worker on my video, so we'll start again here. But anyway, this has been in here for about an hour. It's about noon right now. Was just unintentionally interrupted with the nice postal worker. Gave me a package, not entirely sure what it is. Hopefully it's my plastic or rubber making stuff, so that'll be great. So it's just now starting to lose the luster, or the lack of luster, I mean, the flat surface of the glaze on the outsides, on the top of the pieces that I can see. I've got pieces, 2 of my pieces are on the bottom, 2 of my students' pieces are on the top there. Kayla's work is the ones that I'm having to judge by because I can't even see the ones on the bottom. Let me check on it real quick. It's still going to take a little while. But, yeah, it's getting there. So I took this one a little bit slow too. I started with it a bit, about half of the open nozzle compared to what I would normally leave it at for full fire, because I wanted to slowly heat it up. They've been sitting in the cool air for a while today, or overnight in fact. So I didn't want to run the risk of just heating them up really fast, especially the bottom ones, because I've just got that heat right underneath the kiln shelf there. It's just right there. So it's basically using that bottom one as a heating unit almost. So yeah, I'm a little worried about not being able to see those down there and see how they're doing, but that's okay. I'm much more interested in making sure Kayla's pieces work out as well as I can manage. But yeah, this is the slow part. It'll be a little bit longer than normal because of my slow beginning. I'm really hoping I have enough gas for what I want. So far, so good. But on this 30-gallon, this is my 3rd firing with this fill-up. So please don't run out. I've never tried 3 of them on a 30 before, so hopefully it won't be a big deal. It's still heavy as heck, so who knows. Or I could just be a weakling. That's very likely. on a crawl there, Ant. The outside of the brick may not be bad, but oh boy. Turn that corner and it's a bad day for you. To give you an idea on how much fire there is in there, the flames are actually licking up the inside of the container here, all the way up here. Like, we're talking way up the sides. Flames are just filling this thing. And periodically, as I peek through this hole, I can even see a lick of flame go across that peephole. Gotta love Raku. So, just like I said in another video, what I'm really waiting for is the sheen on the surface developing over it isn't really the final thing that I'm looking for. It's just giving me a hint that it's about to be there. What I really want is for some of the thinner areas, the smaller things or something like that, to start glowing a little bit of orange. You don't want it too ridiculously bright, because that might be too much temperature. But you want a little bit in order to make sure it's heated very well, hopefully from the inside, getting the inside really well as well. Otherwise, if you're just firing it too quickly and it's not enough to break anything, you could get a nice heat for the outside, maybe, but then it might not be getting into the inside that's kind of insulated by having that pocket, especially the taller piece that she's got that's mostly enclosed. The inside of that's going to take a lot longer to heat. My bowls on the bottom, though, not so much. So I'm really worried about that. We'll see what happens. If it melts to my kiln shelf, better mine than hers. Yep, this is the boring, slow part. I'm gonna go grab my drink. Yep. This is the perfect day for this, though. It's just chilly. Just a little chill in the air. It's not bad enough to need a jacket or anything, but it's just cool enough. I think people that don't like cold weather would probably want one. But I love cold weather, but it doesn't make any difference right now anyway, because that's a heck of a lot of heat pumping out of there. This is some fun stuff to do on cooler days, but you don't want to go too cold. Otherwise, the shock of the cold air as you leave it, you pull out of the kiln like that, could be a little too much. I've never seen anybody do it like in the snow or anything like that. Having said that, I really want to try it now. Probably put on some leathers and things so that if it happens to explode, I would be a little less likely to be in the hospital. Don't try this at home, is what I'm getting at there. This entire process, now that I think about it, I am doing in my own driveway. Typically, though, I don't suggest doing this at home. Having a good permanent setup for this is a better idea by far. But a large, hopefully you're better at clearing away the debris on your driveway than I am, but a large concrete space where you can't set a lawn on fire or your house or anything terrible like that is usually pretty good. Now, you can't see that way, but I'm a good, what was that, 15, 20 feet away from my house, so it's not like I'm pumping heat and stuff right at my house or anything. Yeah, and I'm staying away from trees just in case there's too much heat coming off of it or something to just get some dried leaves hanging down below or something. Gotta make sure you don't do that, especially pine trees. Turned it up a little bit more. You might be able to hear the difference. I started turning the wrong way first. Now, if I knew I was going to be staying in this house for a really long time, or any amount of time to speak of really, I'd probably actually build a kiln pit and things in the backyard. So I'd have a much bigger brick area, concrete or something like that. Then I can bring in the fire brick like this so that it'll insulate better and not actually heat the ground or anything like that through the concrete brick. That's why this stuff is great. I love this brick. I can't really grab hold by bare hands once this is done right away or anything, but it's not going to burn the crap out of my driveway either. But I have grand designs for a Raku pit in the backyard. But to be honest, the pandemic is not the most reliable of anything for days. So who knows? All of us could be out of jobs really easily. You never know. Anyway, depressing ideas aside, I don't know. I bet you can't really see it too well. But periodically, now that I've turned it up, you can actually see a little bit of flame licking out of the surface, right off of the outside, right out here. Right there. Right there. Yeah, it's really hot. I like burning leaves. Hard to tell on her tall, very narrow opening top one, because I don't even know what she glazed it with. Some glazes go full glassy sheen, some of them don't very well. So what I'm really just hoping for is one of those two larger pieces on the top to start glowing here in a minute. I think it's getting close, but it's hard to tell. Her smaller ones start to glow pretty good. But the big one, it's going to take a little longer. It's probably a little bit thicker wall because it had to be so much taller. Bigger volume. But it also takes longer to heat a larger vessel too, of course. Should have been more careful when I was mowing my lawn waiting for this. I think I have just enough time for this. I'm not going to tell you a story. However, Bigfoot's never been my favorite thing. Lack of creativity in a lot of ways, in my opinion. I like creative monsters, not hairy people. Maybe that's just me. Having said that, as I look off into the distance. Where I live right now is almost equidistant between two, yeah, it's not really all that equidistant, but where I'm between two rather popular Bigfoot reports. One is off at military base, not too far from here. The other, of course, is Momo, just north of St. Louis. That one became very, very, very famous. But I'm not telling you a story, because there's no end to it. People are still reporting them. Just a little north of here, we have space penguins. Yeah. Green, if I remember correctly. Okay, that's good enough, I think. So, space penguins. You know what that means? Yep, I can tell our small one's glowing because as I look in the top of it, I can see light coming from inside. So that means that the walls are glowing a little bit. Oh boy, is that blowing some heat out still. And it's great to see. I love seeing there's a ring of glowing shelf around where the foot of the pots are. Like there's just light coming out from underneath it. It's really cool. I wish I could show you, but it's not going to treat the camera very well. It may be water resistant, but it's not exactly fireproof. So, alright, let's try not to knock stuff down. Ooh, why did that catch? Alright. There we go. Boy, why did you turn black? That's weird. Oh, that's going to be good. You can see the different coats that she did of the glaze on it. That's interesting. Oh boy, is it hot too. Oh yeah. My two pieces are glowing like crazy down there. Oh yeah, there's some nice light coming out from below inside. Ah, it's hot. It's not that hot. Let's try. Let's give it a shot. Hopefully you can see the glow coming out from inside of these things. Turn it sideways down here. See down in there. Oh, that is hot. Okay, gotta stop because these things overheat badly as it is. Woo! Woo boy! Now I have no idea if you're going to be able to see anything anymore. That I should have thought about ahead of time. Please don't fall over. Okay, hopefully that'll be all right. I'm taking a little longer letting them sit out right now Because as I found out last time, when I grabbed them immediately out of there and threw them into this for the reduction chamber, the stems of the leaves, they messed up the smoothness of the glaze. I can probably take her big one because it's not a smooth, glassy surface, and I can probably put that in there. But I don't want to wait too long, otherwise the cooling down of this exposure like this is going to be too fast, and it's also not going to help get the carbon into those cracks. That's kind of fun. As it's burning the leaves, it's just slowly sinking like it's in quicksand. I got to be really careful because I don't want to put tool marks on the glaze if I can help it. I don't like hearing those ping, ping, pings. This is the hard part. I don't know if I can do this. Oh yeah, that burns immediately. That's not a good idea. Oh, this is unlikely to be a good idea. But I gotta get them out of there somehow. Let go of the thing. Oh, it got weird little pinholes in it. That's odd. Huh. A little disconcerting that it hasn't burst into flame. Maybe I waited too long. Who knows? Whew. I have an ant swimmer going for my cooling bath here. You probably don't want to be in there. I don't suggest it. Okay, now just let them sit there for a little while in the reduction chamber as I try to dodge air currents. I don't want to wear my mask now that I can see the smoke easier instead of dark, not as easy to see last night. I can dodge it a little better. Maybe. Stop it. Okay, so this will take a little bit of time, but still not as boring as waiting for the thing to heat up. At least you have smoke to look at. Really curious as to what she glazed that tall one with. I should have asked. Oh, fluids. Okay, not the most healthy fluids, but still. My number one addiction is soda. So yeah, you won't see me without sodas very often, it seems. Like Jackson Pollock with cigarettes. Except I'm thankfully not Jackson Pollock. Yeah. Though I could use for some of the money that he made. That'd be good. I could definitely go for the prices of his paintings these days. Several of his paintings, or a handful of them anyway, are on the top 100 most expensive paintings on the planet. Therefore, also the most expensive pieces of artwork, if you lump in sculpture along with it. The sculptures get far less money. I don't understand why, but that's probably just the slightly offended sculptor in me. And again, you would normally just leave them in for a couple minutes or so. Yeah, that's a very not accurate statement as far as time, but you just leave it in for a little while. But I'm leaving it in longer than it seems like it really would need to, just because I don't want to run any risks of destroying anything. But thankfully, my two pieces are on the top that were also the hottest, because they were on the bottom in the heat, like I said before, getting right there underneath. You can see how this just blows flame like right into the center on the bottom of that. These triangle holes that I've intentionally left open like that push the flames out and around to the sides and up out through those two holes, and the very comical face on my face that guy makes out of his eye sockets, if you will. Now, it's designed with the big hole at the bottom there with the intention of putting the torch in through that instead. But I have enough bricks that I decided to give it just that 2.5 inches extra height. I don't really need to. It's probably not as efficient because I've never had anything yet that would go up above the eyebrow line there, if you will. But I still want to let this hit the bricks instead, go around this way instead. It's probably not the best. It's probably not the best answer, but that's the way I like to do it here so far. Next time I fire, I might change it up. I might do it more like what they're wanting to do. But the problem I have with the big hole like that is that it is just that huge. That is a massive hole for a little bitty torch. I don't know I very infrequently ever see anybody that's got a honking massive end to their torch. So I don't understand why they make it such a huge hole. But I don't want to use all that, so instead I use that fire brick that you saw to just block that up. And they have 3 holes in the top for the ventilation. That's just, to me, it seems like way too much flow going through, and just pipes it all out instead of letting the heat and resonate inside, if you will. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't know. I think because you have this little punch out piece that I kind of tucked back in there, I think they probably did that on purpose, just because they didn't want to make it too narrowed down to not enough flow for some people. But also I think that's nice to have that in there so that you can block it up if you want a little bit less straight tubing it through. But the big reason I don't want the big hole at the bottom is that I don't want to have the heat just go in and then just come straight back out the same direction. I want it to go up and through the rest of the kiln so that it'll actually heat stuff instead of just blowing out heat into the air. That's probably going to be okay, since I don't have anywhere near as much fire to it. That's what happens when you wait for a little while, huh? It's amazing how much difference just an extra minute or something I left them out maybe It definitely did enough smoke, so that's definitely not going to be a big deal there. Yeah, smoke. Go away. But it isn't as spectacular on camera to see it not burning all sorts of fire. But I have to admit, I think my leaves gathered a little dew over the night, so they're not as combustible as they could have been. So they're just kind of smoking instead. That is not pot. I was grabbing something I thought was one of my pots, but it was just some leaves that looked weirdly pot-like, apparently. Where are you? Feel something hard now, finally. You can tell. I think it's one of mine. Pretty sure. I hope I've let it cool down enough to not be putting marks all over it by picking it up here. I'm just going to kind of unbury it so I can look at it a little. That's the one that has the trough-like lid, or lip, I mean. I have no idea why these things got these weird little pinhole surfaces. Must have been some contamination that I added to the glaze. Oh yeah. If that guy didn't blow up, being the smaller of the two that I did, not the thinnest of the wall compared to the other one, but if that didn't blow up by doing that, I think I'm okay with all the rest. You can hear it's always terrifying to hear the pops and things, but it's usually the boiling of the water inside instead. That is one of hers. I'd really rather get one of mine out instead. My other one, I mean. And all I'm getting is a heck of a lot of leaves. I don't even know what I'm grabbing here. There it is, yep, that's the other one. Come on, leaves. We don't need all of you in there. Can't see stuff. It'll be hard to get her pieces in there if I can't see where I'm going with them. Ah. Speaking of can't see, stop following me. Creeper. I can't see it, but so I'm just kind of feeling my way around. Let go, please. Come on, get water in there. Come on. Stupid smoke, stop that. I said stop that. I have to do this. Holding my breath because of the smoke. Okay. Well, I didn't get to quench that quite as quickly as I wanted. You. Yep, should have got my mask. Okay, there it is. Now I just got to figure out where the top is and how to pick it up. Ah, gosh darn you. Aha! Smoke cleared just long enough to see it. There we go. Okay, you stop being a pain in the butt. Whew. Jeez, just a whiff of smoke here and there is just enough to be bad. I'm having to be careful because a couple of those pots are still kind of hot. I can feel it when I rake through the water here, but it won't take much longer. All right, so we're almost done now. So that's amazing. The little pinholes I was talking about that were so obvious when I pulled the shelf off are gone. Not the best lighting here. Let's see if I can turn this on. Maybe that'll help. Nope, that's worse. Well, this is when it would be nice for that sun to be right in our face here. Let's move you out here. There we go. Now you can see what it looks like. Look at that. Is that amazing or what? So it's dirty from the burning of the leaves, of course, but isn't that going to be lovely? Got little layers that got little cracks that have no carbon in them. So they're these really nice, fine, kind of pale whitish kind of light lines. Go away, bee. But then you have all these dark ones that were opened up when it was in the reduction chamber and have all that in there. I wonder if that's going to be part of it. I kind of hope so, because that is the kind of thing I'm looking for. Look at that. Cool stuff, huh? I'm going to go get the other pieces. Be right back. That one got a bit of a metallic bottom to it. Yeah, same glaze as that one. Oh, I got a crack in this one. Look at that. Yep. So when I went to cool it down, it was a little too early in the water. Pretty sure that's exactly what that was when I was talking about, oh, it's always paranoid. I'm so paranoid whenever I hear, yeah, it probably actually was this thing cracking after all. Yeah, in fact, I got 2 cracks in it. Yep. That's okay. It's not for food anyway, so that's no big deal as long as I don't break that. I may put a little glue in there. So, the ones that I had wanted to make sure didn't break, of course, are these. I don't want to push luck with these. I already broke one of hers through the process. But holy cow, look at that. Is that amazing or what? Beautiful, isn't it? I need to ask her what she used for glazes, because it looks like she did a combination here. On the inside you've got all the carbonation. Carbonation? I keep saying that. Carbon. It's just carbon. Okay, I'll go get the big one now. Damn it. Yeah, you probably heard that. So I'm pissed. This poor thing did manage to get a crack too. Gosh darn it. I'm just going a little too quickly apparently. That's what I get for being impatient and trying to keep people from watching it, having to wait forever. So, yep, unfortunately, This guy's got a little crack on that side. It's a shame. It's beautiful though. Practice. I really appreciate her aiding in my practice. I really do. But this is not an easy process. It really is a pain in the backside. So, one of the things we can do is basically just put some super glue to kind of leach down inside of that so that it won't separate out and fall apart later on. It won't be as easy to really just break it to pieces. One thing that's interesting in ceramics for traditional Japanese ceramics is if you had like a sake set or tea bowl or something like that that's been by a master, somebody that's actually good at this instead of me, or something like that you have for like an heirloom or something, but something happens and it breaks. One thing they do is fill the cracks with gold. They just kind of repair it with gold in it to really kind of accentuate that the life, the experience that piece has had. It's pretty cool stuff. That is very much a sake container sort of shape. A bit big. Not even sure if Kayla's drinking age, and I know that's not what she had in mind right away, but that's very much a sake kind of container, but usually about 25% smaller than that, roughly usually. But that'd be a party size right there. Several people. So yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, like a 50% crack braid on this one. That's really frustrating. I don't even know how this one was made, but they've got some really beautiful subtle colorations, and on the camera I'm not sure how well it'll show up, but there's some really great stuff on that one. The texture I'm wanting to say is probably my armadillo glaze, and thin like this, it just kind of gives this kind of lizard skin kind of a texture, but I have a feeling she used something else as well. I'm not entirely sure what, but it's really cool. Yep. This is my, what is it, sunburst that it's called or something? I can't even remember, and I was just using it yesterday. Yeah, this poor thing. Oh, okay, so here's something I just realized from looking at it. It's not from the water reduction, because I've got carbon in it. It was actually broken probably because I couldn't get it off of the shelf fast enough. It was exposed to the air too long before I put it into the reduction chamber, where it could be cooling down a bit slower. May also be because I had to grab it this way, and it's kind of pressure this way at it too. This one didn't break because of that, because as you watched me do, I grabbed it from underneath like that. So I was trying not to put claw marks on the thing, but oh boy, that's got some fun stuff when it gets thinner. As you saw me when I did my glazing, the thicker stuff is up at the top here and the thinner goes down here. Looks like in this case it tends to be a darker kind of green a little bit, but it's hard to say since the flame coloring on that side changed it. But yeah, it's really cool stuff. Yeah, okay. Anyway, you don't need to sit there and watch me going blah blah blah, pot 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 blah. So yeah, I'll get back to monster making, something that I'm a bit more familiar with and have a lot more practice with than this stuff. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks for sitting around for 45 minutes as I finish this up. Later.